Greetings, it's Christine. I am back with a video. This time we are having a storytime video which is about Amphi 2026. This is a video what I normally do every time I visit Amphi, so I make a storytime video. If you are more of the newer subscribers, you might know me as a woman who loves synths and gear. This is maybe not the type of video you are into, so that's fine, you don't need to watch it. Next video will be more about the synths again. This is for the ones who have been watching me before I started talking about synths, when I was mostly just a goth trying to make goth related content on YouTube. The story time. We have to roll back time to 2025 because I ended up winning Amphi 2026 tickets through a raffle that the fan club that I'm in, Shadowplay, they have this raffle, and the question was how many times have Solar Fake performed in Amphi. And if one looks at Amphi site, it will list 8 times, which is a really tricky situation because that's not true. The real number is actually 9 times because one year they had 2 sets and I was one of the few who knew that. I had to really dig deep to find it, and I found it in the German Wikipedia page, and I don't think many people actually bothered to check that, and I was lucky enough to win tickets, so yeah. And I was so happy about that because these are the anniversary tickets. They sold out really quickly. I also got a pre-party ticket and all the ships ticket, which gets sold out so fast, like only a few days. It's all it takes. And I had never been on a boat, and the reason for that is because I get boat sick. So time goes and summer is here. I am getting ready to travel to Germany for the festival, Amphi 2026. And what happens is that my family have left for Finland. So I was home alone, meaning I was extremely stressed out if anything bad happens. I was so worried constantly, and because of that I had lots of energy, so I cleaned the house, so everything went nice. I'm safely in next town, and then I take the plane from next town to Gardermoen, and everything is fine there. Then the plane ride from Gardermoen to Düsseldorf. I had a lot of energy, and because I was so excited and stressed, and all these things combined made my ADHD extremely bad. I was jumpy, I was distraught, I was all over the place, and I could not think anything, and I was everywhere. Like you could see, like Duracell bunny. What happened is on the plane I ended up sitting on the wrong seat. My seat was 8D and I ended up sitting at 9D, and there was another guy there, and he was a goth. I ended up saying hi to him, and then I found out that I have picked the wrong seat, and I changed seat, and yeah, and we end up talking during the boarding process, and it was really cool because he's actually a really cool guy. He has traveled to Amphi multiple times, and I had a really great time during the flight, and because there was nobody sitting in between him and the person who was supposed to sit at 9D, I was able to sit next to him for the plane ride, at least for a short while until we were going landing. Yeah, we talked about bands and what we wanted to do, plans, and it was really fun. He was really cool. We ended up actually traveling together to Köln from Düsseldorf through train. We are standing there waiting, and then suddenly we are recognized by a third person. And he is Norwegian from Oslo area, but this was his first Amphi. What happens is that we end up traveling together as a trio from Düsseldorf to Köln. There we end up talking to a Norwegian girl with a German boyfriend who is learning Norwegian, and he speaks very well. It was a good time all the way to Köln, and I jumped off from the messe area. I end up checking into the hotel, put sunscreen on and all that, because I will have to wait long in a line, call the ships to port. Yeah, I wanted really early access to the ship because I wanted to see Eleanor and Grendel on first row. It was getting close to 5 because that was the time when I decided to walk. I wanted to walk to the boat to be there early, at least 2 hours early, and I'm glad that I did that. When I arrived, there were some ghosts sitting near the bench, but they had not started lining yet. Smart woman as I was, I went standing close to the line, but not completely in the line. But then a few ghosts started to stand, and I stood behind them, and I kind of regret that I did not stand in the line as I came, because then I could have gotten even a better spot. And what happened is that these goths usually had lots of friends that were able to skip the line because they knew somebody who was in front of me. So I was first 8 in the line, and I was 9th, and I was 10th. I wait in the line, and I am thankfully able to get in and get a decent front row position. And then next to me is this German woman, and we end up talking, and I tell her that I am from Norway, and blah 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 blah. And this turns to be a really cool friendship. She is a big fan of Pink Turns Blue, and so am I. So when we found out that both of us want to see Pink Turns Blue on front row, we make a alliance that we're gonna be on the front row together. So the show starts playing, and I am front row, and the first band is Eleanor. I have seen them before, and I was able to go to their fan signing. I was really impressed of how they treated their fans, and I really wanted to see them front and get the set list. And the show was amazing. I had a really great time, and I was able to get the set list actually. And I had told my friend that I really want the set list. My friend and I, we end up talking a little bit now because time goes faster when you talk. And then Grendel is the next band to perform. It was an old school set, which made me really happy because I personally don't like the newer Grendel stuff. I like the old Grendel. The Grendel that I found on YouTube when I was a teenager. I am so happy because I have seen Time Wave Zero live. It's one of my favorite songs, but it got even better because Chemicals and Circuitry was performed during the show, and that's like one of my all-time favorite Grendel songs. I still listen to it today. The show ended up with a song I literally did not expect, which made my heart bump fast, and that is Short Wire. Like, Short Wire is it's also one of my favorite. It's the second. If I had to line my favorite Grendel songs, it will be Chemicals and Circuitry, Short Wire, Time Wave Zero. All those 3 songs in one. There's only 2 songs I have to kind of hear with my own ears, and that's New Flesh and Harsh Generation. So yeah, I was a really happy girl. I had a set list, and I had made a friend, and I had seen the Grendel songs I really adore. And what happened was that I say goodbye, tell her that we will meet again during Saturday because we're gonna see Pink Turns Blue together. I end up walking out because I do not listen to Husiku, and if you people know what happened in 2024, you will know. Husiku were so rude to me during fan signing, and the story is on that video. I will not be on the front row when Husiku is playing. I will leave. So anyway, I end up walking out of the crowd, and I go up to the second kind of floor, and there's a merch table, and who do I see? Alienair bring the set list and ask them to sign it, and so I have a signed set list, which makes me extremely happy. So I end up talking to them and I tell them how much I appreciate their treatments of the fans. Then I end up talking to one of the Grendel members. He's the Asian guy, and we end up talking about our ages, and yeah, because he says I look really young. I am actually a few years older than him. He's 28 and I'm 31. I have a few things to say. That I look young, yeah, I do, and I am happy about that. And because I might age gracefully and beautifully because of my youthful look, while, how can I say this? White people age like milk. Especially the alternative ones, they age so badly. But he doesn't actually have much to say either because he's East Asian, and East Asians, they also have very particular features that make them look really young. So he shouldn't actually comment on this because it's not like he has much to say either because of his heritage. But yeah, white people, they age like milk, especially German alternative people because they smoke a lot. I am not white, I am indigenous person, so I can call out white people. Honestly, there are a few of them that do not smoke, and I have seen Germans that actually have aged well. After I'm done talking with the Grendel member, I end up walking around the boat and find a chair where I sit for the rest of the evening. And when the boat has stopped, it gets really difficult to get out of the boat because a lot of people are packed. So it takes a few minutes for me to get out of the boat, and when I am out, it felt a relief, and I end up walking to the pre-party actually. Yeah, all the way. Because of the water levels, they had to change the boat location, and it's very far from the Transpon, and I was in the pre-party for maybe 30 minutes. And so because I was so tired, the clock was around 2. I just went there to use the ticket because I wanted the ticket to look used when I am bringing them for the fan signing. So I go back to the hotel room, shower and eat, and go to bed. Okay, then the festival itself starts Saturday. My original plans were actually to see at least one band, but I did not do that. I was so tired, so I just decided to sleep a little bit longer and just go there around 12 o'clock so I could line up early for the Solar Fake signing session. And I waited there with my friend, the Australian friend, and I just asked them to sign the front of the tickets, all the 3 tickets. I did not bother taking a photo because I wanted to get out. Left with my friend, and we said goodbye to each other, and I told her that I wanted to visit the hotel room and take the bus to the orbit stage, which is the boat. So that was what I ended up doing, and I ended up missing a band that I really wanted to see, which was Silent Runners. They were like the first band in the boat, and I was really delayed because of the fan signing. But who do I see on the front row? My friend from the boat, and she has a few friends there. Thanks to her, I am able to get the front row position next to her, and we end up watching a few bands. The bands that we saw together were Escape with Romeo, Twinor, Whispers in the Shadow, The Exploding Boy, and Pink Turns Blue. This night was so fun because I ended up with 3 set lists. The set list for Escape with Romeo were 2 papers, white different things, so I was able to get one of those halves. I think there are some accords written in them, which I appreciate as a musician. It makes the set list look really special. I really, really like the live for Escape with Romeo. They sound amazing, just like I thought they would, and I had an amazing, great time. When it comes to Twin Nor, I appreciate their music, but the problem is that my view of Twin Nor became a little bit sour because I heard that from my new friend that the singer of Twin Nor had been really mean to her friend, which makes me feel horrible because this is kind of thing that makes me mad, you know. If a band insults my friend, then that band is literally gone in my brain. So insulting a friend is extremely no in my book. Then Whispering in the Shadow, I really liked their performance. Oh, and I was also lucky enough to get their set list, so I have it on my wall currently. I was so happy regarding that, and it was just amazing what I had managed, because I had 2 set lists now, so I was collecting them like Pokemon. And then there was this Swedish band called Exploding Boy, and I really, really, really enjoy their music. Oh my gosh. It was one of the best performances of the night. I was so impressed by the live, and yeah. My friend actually ended up buying me water, and I had to guard her spot while she was picking up something to drink. And then we ended up watching Pink Turns Blue. I said goodbye to my friend. She has added me on Instagram, like following, and I have followed her too. I really appreciated her because without her I wouldn't have been able to be on the front row. Okay, Sunday. So the Sunday is, the weather was supposed to be raining, and I knew that I wanted to be in a boat because my feet were so tired from 2 nights of standing on the harsh metal-y front row. So I ended up walking to the festival Transmunen around 12 o'clock. I originally had plans to see Motel Transylvania, but I did not bother. I just felt like sitting because I was so tired, and I found a bench. I wanted to take the first bus to the boat because my plans for Sunday were actually to find the best chair in the boat. So that was what I wanted to do the whole night. And I actually ended up doing that. So because of the windy weather, I ended up sitting very high up in the shuttle bus because there's like those touristy buses with 2 floors, and I was so tired. I want to feel a little wind, but my headpiece, I had to hold the headpiece because it could fall off because the wind was so strong. I came really early to the line. I was number 3 to the boat, and I picked a very particular spot to sit. And the bands that I saw were Kilsignal, Ammon, C, Potoshin, I don't know how if I can pronounce it, Paradox Obscure, and Rotersun. I was there for Rotersun. Obviously, I'm a big Rotersun fan. I feel like I have to see Rotersun at least 5 more times. I've seen them twice. I had a really good spot. The only downside was the fact that I was sitting there. I had no option to get set lists, and if I had stood there for the front row, I think I would have walked home with at least 2 more set lists, or maybe 3, because again, like, I have this instinct of hunting and gathering and all that. As an indigenous person, I am really, really open to that part of the human experience. So I use it for setlist hunting, and I think there were a few women who were on the front row that recognized me, kind of, because they were able to find out how many setlists I had kind of gathered around Saturday, and most likely my face was the mask that I had on. Maybe it had been recorded and people might have seen those, so who knows, but I felt like some of these women on the front row recognized me for what I am, a beast. And I think deep in their mind, they are happy that I was not with them there, because they know they would not walk with setlists if I had been there. I'm honest about it. Yeah, I did not really enjoy Kill Signal. It was not something for me, and I find it funny because they have a reindeer horn thingy, and as a Sami person, I get a little bit when reindeer is used, because I question have these people actually seen a reindeer in real life? Have they? The next band was Emon, and I really liked Emon, and there were synths obviously, and what I found out really quickly is that my seat I am able to see gear. Yeah, I was able to do that for all the bands, something only a musician can appreciate. I really liked the CS set too, but Emo was my favorite, one of the favorites, with Rotor Sound obviously being the number one for Sunday, and Emo would be number 2. I hope that I might be able to say Emo again, that electronic instruments, drums, synths and all that sounds so amazing live. Even if Emon had a little bit technical difficulties, still the instruments sound so good live. I was really enjoying it, because again, I listen to lots of techno these days with lots of poof 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 poof, and this set had that. For Sia, I enjoyed it because again, it's not, the language is not German, which I appreciate. Sing in French, and obviously the instruments, seeing that part too was so satisfying for me. So I really like their set. And when it comes to Putu Keen, I think that was also really satisfying. The music itself, I was thinking this is something I like live, but I don't think I will like it so much a studio because of the voice. She has a really light voice, kind of, but it's not usually the type of vocals I prefer. I really like the instruments live too, because they also have boom 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 kind of, which I could appreciate a lot. And what happened was that this is where I end up meeting my Norwegian friend that I made in the plane, because he had no plans for Sunday. He ended up walking to the boat, and he had seen M1 too, which he said was really good, and I had to agree because, again, amazing show. What happened is that I had a chair next to me, and I was wearing this mask, P2 mask, and nobody dared to sit next to me, so I had an empty chair that I would put my feet on sometimes. What happened is that my Norwegian friend actually sat there, and we watched the Potochin together. So we had a really great time during that set, and I asked him if he could look after my seat for a short while, because I was hungry and I wanted to get something to eat, and he did that for me, which was really appreciated. So I'm so happy that we got to know each other, and we spoke about stuff we had seen and blah 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 blah. And I told him about what had happened earlier that day. And this is where it's very hard for me to express what I have to say. It's stuff like this that really frustrates me, and has over the years made me accept less bullshit from Germans that attend these shows. Last year, there was this girl with the set lists who was so mad at me. And this year there was this more elderly German people, like Gen X. What happened was that there were 3 chairs to my right, and 2 of them were occupied by this German couple, and 1 was empty, and people did not want to sit close to me, and I had particularly picked that one already on Saturday, that this chair is where I'm gonna sit. Then suddenly comes this lady who asked if I could change my chair to the empty one so their friend could fit next to them. And it made me mad, and I said no. I refuse to change seat because I want to sit here for the view. And I am unable to understand a little bit German, and she ended up walking back to her friends and getting a little bit mad and said something like, "This is my chair," in German, and I was like, yeah, this is where I'm sitting. I came here early, I lined up early, I sacrificed my time to get this chair. Why should I give it up to you who came later, who is feeling so entitled? Like, these people live in Germany, they have the option to see these bands wherever they feel like it, because these bands, they constantly tour in Germany. They can like just take the bus or the train to the next city and see their band, so they are so entitled. And here I am, somebody who has to pay lots of money to see these bands, not able to see them every single months or something. Here you are asking me, of all people, to sacrifice a seat for your entitled friend who has the option to see these bands whenever they feel like it. I got so mad even after I had arrived home. Then I realized this aspect of it, and I was so mad. And I'm so glad that I just said, because of the view, that I was kind of polite yet firm in my stance when this happened, because I could have literally lashed out on them and made it even more uncomfy for them. I don't have to pay much money either. And here you are complaining about a tiny little seat for somebody who also has the same luxury. What kind of first world problem is this? And I told that to my Norwegian friend, and he understood my point of view. He had to leave early because he wanted to see Icebreaker. And during the Rotor sunset, I gave the chair to somebody else. At least it was not due to entitlement. I felt a little bit sympathy for him, so I like, okay, go ahead, sit. And Rotor Sun was amazing. The set list for that show was totally good, and I was so happy because he ended up kind of pointing at me during Grey, and I felt like he is tall enough that he can see us on the second row too, and it made me feel so happy. Like, again, this is a man who is able to see all the fans, even the ones who are on the front and more on the further back in the area, and also us that are on the second floor. So I was so satisfied, and I was dancing constantly like this all over the place. So I was nearly losing control in my chair. And it was so obvious that I was a Rotor Sound fan, like everyone could see it. Yeah, and one more thing that was interesting that happened was actually that I got recognized by the lady who was very central in organizing the US tour for Solar Fake. So if you were active during one of Solar Fake's US tours, you know about the Iron Socks things, and I was really important in that particular joke or inside joke, because I was the girl who took the homemade banner kind of thing, where I had written "I don't iron my socks either" thing, and if you knew about what this iron socks thing meant, then you were able to understand. And she obviously knew about it and maybe remembered me and ended up waving to me on the other side, and I waved back, and I was like, I knew that it was for me because there was nobody else like looked like this. And yeah, it had to be me. And I also bumped to her when I was getting my food on Sunday. Like, she was walking to her spot, maybe doing something, I don't know. But it was interesting. I said to her, "You're the solar fake," and yeah, she said, and then on the other end waved at me, and I waved back, and yeah, it was fun being recognized. At least somebody recognized greatness. So I was like, yeah, greatness recognized greatness. Is after the Rotesan show, I ended up walking back to my hotel room. On Monday, I decided to have lunch with my Australian friend. We talked about a few things and exchanged gifts. I had made something for her and she had bought something for me. And we ate at this beautiful French-looking cafe. I had lots of great snacks and tea, and it was amazing and all that. And then we walked back to the hotel, and after that I decided to leave to the airport, and I spent some time there waiting for the plane. And I checked into my hotel, and in the morning I had a flight back to next town, and there I ended up taking the bus back home. So yeah, that was it. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye!